Man, it's crazy that we just got people scamming their life away and think that nothing's gonna happen. But if you don't know what I'm talking about, watch this.
My name is Jonathan Dupaton, and I went to federal prison for aggravated identity theft, wire fraud, mail fraud, food stamp fraud. I'm very, very ambitious, and I thought, why not expand the business? At that point, I think I was making about $50,000 a month, easily. So, I thought about, okay, if I can just hire more people, get more stores, I can make way more money. My goal was to make $250,000 a month. So what I started doing was I started hiring people. I knew what it took. I had my own operation going on. I had, somebody typing the names. I had somebody.
So if you don't know what I'm talking about, man, we finna go ahead and get straight into it right now. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and let's just go ahead and get straight into the video. So we're gonna start from the bottom and just work our way up. You feel what I'm saying? So there's this podcast host who has a Rich and Unemployed podcast. I don't know his full government name right now, but I'm gonna get straight into the specifics of breaking everything down. So when I'm talking about him, So when I'm talking about him and his sister, I'm talking about that podcast host specifically. So one day the host was broke. He was running through the hood. He said, damn, I see this store has EBT. Let me look into that. And then when he started looking into it and doing his research, he figured out that, damn, if I actually get to the grocery store and I start accepting EBT, then I'll get money from the government basically to assist me with everything. And he'll start throwing me money because I'm working with the government and I'm helping low income families. So I'll get sponsored by the government pretty much for all my food and all my necessities. But there was just one problem with this idea that he had. He didn't have a grocery store. He didn't have the land for a grocery store, and he didn't have any customers. He also didn't have any products. So he said, damn, I don't got any of that. What should I do? So instead of being a smart man or real man and just going ahead and being like, oh yeah, I'm just finna work my way up, grind, get to the land, then I'm finna get to the grocery store or try to get a loan, anything like that, to get my credit up, anything of that nature. You know what this man did? He said, I'm gonna be a scammer. So he created an LLC called J Good Groceries with a fake address, then apply for a grocery store that can accept EBT, because if you didn't know, when a grocery store accepts EBT, like I said before, the government is going to sponsor them. They're going to send money their way. But his play was he was never going to get the grocery store. He was just going to take the money and then run off with it. And that's exactly what he did. But there was one problem. And even though he applied for the grocery store, he applied for the EBT, and he was able to get the EBT with the grocery store that did not exist, by the way, with a fake address and everything. He said, I do still need the clients because people still got to come in with EBT. So this is where things get really spooky. So since he had no clients, he would apply for EBT with other people's social security info, which is kind of, I wouldn't say easy to find, but if you're on a dark web or tapped in with scammers, you can find people's social security info pretty easier than you think, which is crazy as hell that it's just out there and people are buying other people's social security info still in the big 2025 or even a big 2020, 2021. Insane. He was buying people's social security info and then signing them up for EBT and actually having the EBT card come physically through the mail. And from there, he would take the money and run off and buy products for a grocery store that does not exist. So he was taking the money fist over hand, and he was making a killing from this. And he was making so much money, he said, you know what? I can't keep this all to myself. I gotta share the wealth. I have to share the love. I have to share the money that the government is giving me for free. So you know what he put on? He put on his sister and had his sister make a grocery store doing the same thing called Stephanie's Grocery Store, which is a dumbass name. He could have at least told her to put on a real name, put on a real facade. Because how is he gonna name your store to Stephanie's Grocery Store? Like, come on, you know damn well that don't even sound believable. That don't sound right. I've never seen someone name their store after their first name. But even if they did, like, y'all don't have the land, y'all don't have any pictures, y'all don't have any clientele, you don't have any bank records, you don't have anything. So I don't know what about this made them think that this was a good idea, but it wasn't. It was horrible. And you know why it was so bad? Because it eventually backfired on them and they both got arrested. But how they got arrested is the funny part, because they actually ended up getting caught like this though, which is kind of funny, because they was taking people with social security and signing up for EBT. But what they didn't expect was the same people that were taking social security info from would one day want to get on EBT or SNAP because they're obviously poor. No offense to them, but they need the EBT. And when they went to apply for EBT, they were told that they already had an EBT card in their name. So of course they're like, I don't have an EBT card in my name. I wouldn't be here if I did. You know, they're irritated, pissed off because why did this come to the welfare office and do all this paperwork if I wasn't gonna get my goddamn EBT card? So they actually went to the feds with this. The feds started doing the research, looking into it, and they realized, oh, this guy is scamming. So when the feds came, they did a sweep, a super sweep. So you already know what's going on. After they did that sweep, people got locked up. Him and his sister got locked up and went to jail. Now, they ended up taking a total of $395,000. And from that, he only got 3 years while his sister got 6 months, which I'm not gonna lie, if you steal $395,000 and you only get 3 years, that's not bad. You know why? Because if you have $395,000 worth of drugs, you would have got 25 to life. You would have got 10 to 15. But he had $395 that he just scammed. He got 3 years. Now, of course, prison is prison. No one wants to go to prison. But I just feel like it's crazy. Scammers begin these light ass sentences and then they be coming out doing the same exact thing because they get light sentences. So it's like scammers be like, damn, I get less time than a drug guy. I get more money than a drug guy. And I got more freedom than a drug guy. They're really winning, but it just, you know, it's frowned upon for sure. I feel like both are frowned upon, but you know, of course, a scammer is just lower to low because you're scamming people, while a drug dealer, at least you're doing good business, quote unquote. But it's a lot of risk that come with both of them. But that doesn't matter because he did his 3 years, got out. He said, you know what, I'm going to change my life this time. I don't want to actually be a scammer. I don't want to be a drug dealer. I don't want to do anything illegal anymore. I'm going to be legal. So he got out of prison and made the Rich and Unemployed podcast. Actually has a merch line as well that goes to the podcast, and it was doing pretty good. I've seen a lot of clips of their podcast, and one thing I will say about him, even though he's a scumbag for what he was doing, he was actually putting people on game, and he was actually having a positive message. Now, he always looked a little weird to me. You know, these podcast those always looking a little crazy to me when they talk about finance and everything. That's the main topic that they're focused on, especially knowing that he only mainly had women on there that he was trying to, you know what I'm saying? He was trying to crush, but he was still pushing a positive message, as you can see right here.
Close us out with a word. I want you to speak specifically to a person who is a previous version of themselves. And right now they're on the fence. They're 1 foot in of achieving or going for a better life, and they're could be going 1 foot back into their not so great life. They could be going back to prison. They could be going back to the street life. They can be going back to the strip club. They can be going back to something that doesn't serve them. Talk to that person, give them some advice on what you would do.
I would say, man, listen, the same amount of energy that it takes to do any illegal activities, it's the same amount of energy that it takes to do legal things. I've been on both sides of the field, and I've learned that doing those type of things, you'll never really be comfortable. You'll really never be satisfied. And to have to look over your shoulder, that's terrifying for me. I can't live that life no more. So you need to look at your life and see where you want to be, and what you're doing right now, is it taking me there? I don't know what you're doing. I don't know what you're into, but you have a bigger purpose. You know, I found my purpose, you know, in a place where, you know, some people may not ever go. But I had to go through that to get here.
And everything was cool until we come to find out he was still scamming this entire time. So we come to find out that he was actually scamming unemployment for $10 million between 2020 and 2025 when he just got caught. Now, you already know in 2020 there was COVID going on. People were getting a lot of checks because it was a world crisis. And people couldn't go to work, people couldn't eat, and they were trying to give out as much money as possible, but they also had a quota to fill. They had to accept a certain number of applications and do a certain number of applications every day. So this is how to break down everything, where, as you can see from the screenshot on the screen, July 15, 2020, scheme initiation. The defendants began their scheme to defraud the California EDD by obtaining personal information, doing the same thing they did last time, buying social securities, buying people's info, then using that to actually fund what they were going to do by using that info to apply to UI applications so they can get unemployment and they can take advantage of the California EDD. Mind you, they still live in Georgia. They don't even live in California. None of these people that they're doing this for live in California either. The defendants, along with others, electronically submitted fraudulent UI applications to the CAEDD via the internet. These applications use stolen personal information of unwitting individuals without their knowledge of authorization. The applications falsely claimed eligibility for UI benefits, including misrepresenting COVID-19 related reasons for unemployment, which is the main reason people were even getting money for COVID-19. They used a virtual private network, VPN of course, to mask the originating IP address, concealing the computer's use to submit the fraudulent claim. And that's just regular scammer activity. You know, you got to use the VPN. I'm not really surprised by that. That's one of the smartest things he did this whole time. It was trying to mask your identity. But it gets dumb because he did something twice as dumb for doing something one time smart. After he started putting in applications with everybody's information, he started getting some money from it. He said, why can't I make some money my damn self? And you know what he did? He actually put in an application himself and had his sister put in an application. The same sister that went to prison, by the way, for 6 months, and he went to prison for 3 years. Back at it again, the scamming twins. So they went at it and they actually put in applications from California to Georgia and had the debit card shipped out there. Now, after the fraudulent applications were approved, the defendants updated claimant information to redirect debit cards to addresses in the Northern District of Georgia and elsewhere. Over 300 debit cards were mailed to various addresses and each loaded with UI payments ranging from $19,200 to $20,000. These people ran off at bare minimum $5,760,000 and thought nothing was gonna happen to them on podcasts, kicking shit, wearing gold jewelry, wearing chains, doing all types of lavish shit, didn't try to go out the country or nothing. They thought this was gonna work. If I do some shit like that and I hate the government for $5 million, I'm going to Thailand, bro. I don't know what's wrong with people. Like, I will leave the country and never come back. I don't even know why people are even playing with these people. Like, he's gonna get a lot of time for this shit. And the worst part about it all is he's pretty much under the bus because someone is snitching on him right now. Someone is actually working with the government because they put in a request for protection, for a witness protection for someone. And as you can see right here, the government further requests an order stating that the defendant, his counsel, and members of the defense team may show but not provide copies of the unredacted discovery to witnesses as deemed necessary by the defense for the purpose of preparing for defense for the case. The government further requests that all discoveries be provided and used by defendant and his counsel solely for the purpose of allowing defendant to prepare his defense, and the defendant, defense counsel, or other members of the defense or members of the defense team will not disseminate, disclose, or provide the discovery produced by the United States to anyone who is not necessary to the preparation of the defense. So basically what they're saying is they got this sealed up. No one's gonna know who the witness is or who the snitch is, and clearly he's not the snitch because he got snatched up, and I don't think he was expecting that. So his life is pretty much over with. He's done. His life is over with. He's not gonna have any more fun or any more parties. Nope. All the partying and shit you was doing in Georgia is done for, brother. Now I hope you know how to goddamn shank somebody and build a knife, because that's what you're gonna be needing to do. I don't know why he tried to do this or why he thought it was a good idea, but it just goes to show you nothing goes unpunished. And if you run around scamming, you are gonna get what's coming to you. So I hope people are smarter with their time and smarter what they do with their money, because if you're scamming and actually doing the bad stuff and running off on people, you need to leave the country, because they're coming. Those people are coming. This has happened 5 years ago, and they came for that ass, and they never stopped investigating them when they got the first case. So it's just looking all bad for him. But hey, stupid is and stupid does. But if you like the video, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe to the notification bell, and don't forget to follow me on Instagram, GuaboyG, on Twitter, GuaboyG. I'm gonna definitely catch you on the next video. You know, I'm uploading like 2 or 3 a day. Let's go.